About 4 months ago, I got a call from my sister, Steph. She had just gotten engaged and she wanted to plan a wedding in 4 months. She didn't want to go to law school and plan a wedding during her first year of law school, which I understood.
Yeah.
Was very excited to her. And when I thought we were planning a wedding in 4 months, I thought we were doing a small, 50-person affair. It was a 230-person wedding on a Saturday in July at a hunting cabin in north central Pennsylvania. And so here today, super excited to talk to us about the wedding planning journey is the person who's responsible for taking about 10 years of stress off of my life, my sister, Stephanie Martinez.
Hi, everyone.
So we're super excited that she's here. So I'm Cortney, and I'm here with my mom, Julie, and we're going to talk to you about caregiving and grief and what that looked like through the wedding planning journey. So Steph's wedding and all of the different features are a perfect example of you don't just get to stop living because life is hard and because you're going through grief. And so we had to make decisions together about all of the different things that we were doing for the wedding. And to include Nan in them. So in March, when Steph got engaged, we were only about 4 months after Nan had passed away, really still going through the thick of the grief. And we chose to really lean into what she also would have wanted for Steph's wedding day. So Steph, I don't know if you want to talk about the exciting part, which is getting engaged.
Yeah, so we were up in New York. My cousin Lexi and her boyfriend Liam had helped with the proposal, and afterwards we called everybody that was important to us. So we called, did a big FaceTime with mom and Cor and dad and DJ, and blew the news on them, which of course they already knew because Fabi had talked to them and gotten their opinion, and mom helped him pick out the ring. Cor and mom helped him pick out the ring. And we called, who was important on Fabi's side as well, his sisters, of course, and told them, and they were very excited. But it was really hard for me to not be able to call Nana because I would have called her. Maybe not FaceTime if she didn't have mom there. I don't know if she could have got that to work. But I think mom could have got it, her on the FaceTime, and I would have wanted to be able to talk to her, and she would have been very happy for me and very excited. So that was definitely a hard time. I think one of the easier things for me was that she had met Fabi. That made it a little bit better for me. I mean, she met him not fully because it was about a month before she passed for Thanksgiving, and she was still pretty sick at the time. Knowing that she had at least seen him, at least met him in some capacity, did make that moment a little bit easier for me.
It's so hard with all these moments. You're so excited, for what's going on. Mm-hmm. And yet there's a piece that is missing.
I think I do have to make a plug for Fabi here because he did meet her in November. But then, we talked about inviting 200 people to this wedding, most of whom he met in the receiving line at the viewing before. I mean, It was quite the introduction. I think that he got to the family in a very short period of time. But with everything, he handled it really well.
He did.
He just kind of jumped into the next thing.
I kept introducing him to people, and I was like, oh, yeah, you met them at my grandmother's funeral. And he's like, I met a lot of people that day.
Yeah.
But I think, the engagement was exciting. And then when we got over the shock of how we were going to do it so fast, one of the things that we did, which was really fun, was we came into New York City. And we got the dress. So actually, the day that you got your dress was actually the day that we recorded our first episodes of this podcast, Hey Woman. So it was a really special day to kind of bring her with us in the morning and then go to Kleinfeld's to get the dress. And we ended up getting a beautiful dress. Mm-hmm. And, she was there with us in spirit during the dressing room. I would like to think that Mom, we held it together.
We did.
And we held our comments more than she may have.
That's true.
Definitely more than she may have.
Yeah, there was one dress that we were not sure why you tried it on or why you thought it was nice, but we didn't say anything. Nan would have. She would have shortened that. She would have been like,
You look like the dog's hind leg. That's what she would have told you.
I think she would have said the dress looked like the dog's
Oh,
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. She would have definitely shut that down quicker than we did. But what Court and I are like, that's not our job. Like she would have it's like, okay, I think, both of us kind of like looked at each other and decided, we weren't going to let you leave with it. But we thought, and thankfully she got off of that dress. Thankfully that was, but
The spirit of Nan would have like struck you down.
But what, for me, that was like one of the first times that I was sitting there thinking, God, she would have loved this so much.
It was definitely the hardest part for me. It's when I started writing my letters to her, because it was the hardest part. I mean, I think you guys talked about it before. Nan loved shopping. She loved making a day of shopping. And
she could spend a lot of money shopping in a short amount of time.
She
really could.
She taught us well. She did.
And she just would have loved, I went to a separate room, got dressed, and then came in. She just, every time, she would have been so excited to watch me walk into the room in a new dress. And the reason I picked the dress that I picked is because I heard Nan. I heard her. And so it was so hard because I was so excited and I didn't want to be sad. I wanted to be happy. But I was sad. I was really sad to not have Nan, and I needed an outlet. I needed a way to let my feelings out, to make sure that she was a part of it. And so I thought back to her funeral with my eulogy, and I had such a hard time writing that, and I couldn't write it until I decided to write a letter to Nan. That's how I wrote my eulogy, and it really helped me back then. And so I took that same effort, and I wrote more letters to her. And after my dress shopping was the first time that I wrote one, and I think I'm going to read a little bit of it, is because it just shows how much Nan really was there that day for me. Mm-hmm. So I wrote, Dear Nana, I picked out my dress. I know you would have loved it. It's a ball gown. And when I looked at it, I pictured you saying, simple elegance, baby. That's what she called me. I was her baby. And it's exactly what that dress is. It's simply elegant. I picked so many outfits in my life based on you saying that one phrase. It feels only fitting now that I picked the dress that gave me that feeling, that allowed me to hear you whisper that in my ear. How I wished you could have been there. And of course I go on in the letter. I don't think I can share more, but that it is. I mean, I sat in so many fitting rooms with her. And she wasn't the type that just sat out and waited. She just sat in there with me.
Yeah, she was right there. Yeah.
I don't know.
To be honest, that's against most stores' policies at this point, but try and stop her.
I know. She would sit in that little chair, and she would put all of our hangers on for us, and she would hang them all up. And she told you if she didn't like it
very quickly.
Yeah. But I remember vividly being with Nan, and she would so many outfits. She would be like, "It's simple elegance, baby," and that's why I picked the dress that I picked. And I know Nan would have loved it.
Beautiful dress.
Oh, by the way, we knew you were going to pick that dress.
We did too.
When we went through the whole thing, and they tried, you came in, you said you didn't know exactly what you wanted. They tried this and that, and it's like, yeah, you got that dress. Well,
it looks like Steph.
We knew you were going to get that dress.
I wasn't sure.
We let you go through the process.
Yeah.
And I think for, everybody that's listening, one of the reasons we're sharing this with you is, really having those real conversations, because there isn't always a safe space to, be this vulnerable and really kind of talk about just how hard it is. Because even admitting that it's hard or that you're sad seems sometimes to be wrong, because you're supposed to be happy. And if you're listening, and you're going through this, whether you're still caregiving or you're, and there's grief about the things that people can't do, and they're still, living and here. What we really want you to know is, it's okay. And like Steph's note or letter to Nana, it was her way of dealing with it. And we all have to walk our own way, but be okay to say, this is really hard and I got to figure something out.
And I think, I wanted her there so bad, so I found a way to bring her to me. I know she wasn't there physically, but to me, writing to her, telling her about it, that's all I wanted to do. So I did it, and that's okay. It wasn't the same. She couldn't respond, but I know Nan well enough to know what she would have said. And I think, that was my way of bringing her to me. And I think that that's okay. I think you just have to find a way to include that person that you're missing so much. And hopefully it doesn't feel as big. And I think, like Mom said, so many times we're told you're supposed to be happy. It was one of the best moments in my life. I was getting married to a person I love very much. And it is one of the best days of my life. But I was also very sad, and I think that that's okay. And there were lots of days when I couldn't be happy. There were lots of days when I just cried. And thank goodness for Bobby again. He just would let me cry. And I think he just knew. From day one, he knew how important Nana was to me. Oftentimes I thought he would never ask me what was wrong, because I would just cry and he would just let me. And he wouldn't bug me, he wouldn't say what was wrong, and I was like, that's so sweet. He never really asked me. But I think probably he knew.
Yeah.
But that those days doesn't mean I wasn't excited about being married. It doesn't mean that I don't love him. It just means that I needed a moment to remember with her. Because I couldn't, just like this podcast says, I couldn't pick up the phone and say, hey, woman. So.
Yeah. And I think we all had those moments, all three of us. Thank goodness we didn't have them on the same day.
Right? We scheduled them appropriately. Yeah, one of us was allowed to fall apart at a time.
Yeah, I remember, recently, Court, when you came home from Boston, and I felt really bad about it, but it was just I just couldn't, I knew we had so much to do, and it's just I'm out, I just can't. And I think there again, you have to be willing to say that, and then tap me out, let me go do what I need to do, because goodness knows I needed to be tapped back in, for another day. But there wasn't just, the engagement and getting the dress. There was all kinds of other things that we did, in moving this forward and organizing. And I know for me, I know that it maybe in some ways made me do what she would have wanted. Earlier in my life, with the dynamic between us, I may have fought her a little bit because, she liked everything so nice and so elegant. And I think, at the end of the day, probably I was like, oh, Mom would have loved that. And so I was like, I need to do that. And so for me, it was definitely a driving force in the wedding planning of, we have to do that. We have to do it well. We have to do it the way Nan would have wanted it. And actually, I really appreciate that. Because it ended up making a really great day.
Some of the decisions easier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Honestly, it did. And I think, too, kind of along the shopping vein, something that I think made me think of Nan in a fun way was when you called me and had me help with your wedding registry. So as lovely as Fabi is, he didn't think you guys needed anything. And
I explained to him that's not how registries work.
You'll learn not to ask the husband about those things. You call your mom, your sister, somebody else.
The maid of honor stepped up, So, but she would.
Did you try to ask Dad?
I did also try to ask Dad.
Yeah. And he told you your registry was too expensive. And 30 seconds into my phone call, I had you at a wine refrigerator.
Yeah. Talk about expensive.
But Nan would have told you to put it on there.
She would have. Yeah.
Because people can buy it, they can not buy it. That's their business. But you don't have one. And now you're going to have a house. So
right.
Where are you going to put your wine? And that would have been important to her. Where are you going to put your wine?
Definitely where you put your wine is important.
Man, we had an episode about that. And she was supplying for her personal care home. If you haven't heard that episode, go on back.
It's a good story.
Yeah.
But, with the registry, then you have the shower. And I think, for me, one of the neatest things that happened was I had sent out all the invites for the shower, and actually a friend of Nan's, called me and said that she had 2 quilts in her attic, and Nan had given to them. They were Nan's to fix, and she asked me if that would be an appropriate wedding shower gift to you. And there was so much going on. I kind of forgot until you were opening it that I had gave the go-ahead for that. But for me, that was a neat way to kind of like bring her into the shower. There also was like, it was a buffet. And so I printed the menus, which probably seemed silly when I had Arizona print menus for a buffet, but Nan would have wanted them.
Yes,
on the place settings. Like that would have been important to her, that the table looked nice and that they were printed on the table. And so that's what we did.
Mm-hmm. And I think I was not expecting to open that gift from Belinda. And I believe that I opened it as one of the first ones, which
you did. It was a little early on.
It was probably made it not easy. But knowing that somebody else brought Nan to me too was helpful to me. I mean, of course I cried. I think there aren't any good pictures. I think most of the pictures I'm just like bawling or wiping my eyes. But that somebody brought Nan to me and knew how important it was to me to have her there and to have something of hers. I was very honored too that Belinda had gone through the effort to fix the quilt,
which is hard, very hard.
Very
That's
hard.
why she didn't do it during Nan's life.
Yeah, I mean, Belinda's a very special person too, and she wanted to do it right. Like she called Court and
she called me too.
I was the only one not knowing, just surprised, crying. But I just thought that was a really special way for Belinda. And I know the whole bridal shower Nan would have loved, everything that Court did. I mean, even deploying your troops is very a Nana thing to do.
That's true. Oh, I delegated well.
Yes.
And my balloon arch, I think the balloon arch deserves a moment.
Yeah. It was a very nice balloon arch. Nan would have liked it. But, I mean, that's what Nan did. She would delegate. When we were at her house, we would be, like, spring cleaning, and she's like, this kid does this, oh, and Lex go do that. Like, she would deploy her troops well, and that's what Court did for the bridal shower. I mean, Court did, I think, most of it and made sure that they were all doing their job correctly.
As Nan would have.
Yes. But it was a lovely event, and Nan definitely.
Oh, and she would have enjoyed a mimosa at brunch. Like it was.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But I think, even moving from that, I think the last push, like the last couple weeks, that was really hard. But you got to bring like part of Nan with you on the actual day when I think we all wore a piece of her jewelry.
Yeah.
Yes, we all did. Yeah. I think even a lot of the bridal party did, nieces and stuff. Yeah.
Nan's other 2 granddaughters, Lex and Ab, they both wore something of Nan's. And my necklace I borrowed from Mom.
Borrowed.
And with the sapphire, which Nan loved, which I also think, I'm not sure if you guys have talked about this, but I always thought that was such a funny thing of Nan, that Nan's birthday was at the end of August, so she just adopted the sapphire.
September, because she liked it better.
Yeah, because she liked it better. So I was wearing sapphire jewelry because it matched the necklace from Nan's that I borrowed. And a lot of Nan's jewelry had sapphires in it because, again, she adopted that birthstone because she liked it better. It's just such a Nan thing to do.
She always said it was 3 days. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, it was close enough. Like, I asked her about it once, and she's like, what's 3 days? That's close enough. She's like, not, because mine is an emerald. And so she's like, well, not all of us can have an emerald. And I was like, oh, sorry, woman.
And I think it would have made her happy that we were all wearing a piece of it, but also that we were all wearing nice jewelry. It would be important to her that we all looked very nice, had our hair done, and she would have loved that we went to Merle Norman. I mean, she loved going to Merle Norman, getting her hair done by Michael. The whole experience, like the spa experience, she would have loved that too, I think.
And the fact that the little girl, like the flower girls,
Yeah.
so you had 5 flower girls.
I did.
And they all came and got their hair and their makeup done. And so it was such a fun, like, morning getting ready because you have all the bridesmaids and mom, and Nan would have enjoyed that. Like, everybody was getting their hair done to look nice, and we were all doing it together in such, like, a group activity.
I think even, like, when I think back in that decision on my my flower girls, I did pick 5, and I love children, and I love having them a part of these events, and I love my younger cousins, and so I didn't really want to pick any, and I think in that moment it was always just because, well, why not? But I think also to me there was somebody so important missing from the day. Like, I was already missing my Nan. I was missing on so much that I had decided that I'm not going to make decisions. I'm not going to exclude somebody from my wedding that I want in it. And so I had 4 younger girl cousins, and I wanted them all to be a part of it. And then we also wanted to include Fabi's niece, so we had 5 flower girls. And I think that just goes to that. I didn't want to keep missing out on things, and I didn't. So I didn't make the decision because I didn't think I had to. And I had 2 ring bearers because I had 2 younger boy cousins, and I wanted them both to be a part of it. And I think, I made that decision so fast, which you both know I don't make decisions fast.
We know.
We were there.
But when I think back on that, I think I was so tired of not being able to it was rushed. I was grieving. There were so many things that I had rushed out, and so I was like, you know what? I want them all to be a part of it, and I think that did also make me feel better. It made, since there were so many people involved, and we had a little bit of a bigger bridal party, more flower girls. There was so much going on. I think it also made Nan's absence feel a little bit less. Of course, it's a very big absence, and it was very much felt, but I think having so many people around me was also very important.
Well, and I think the real lesson here for our listeners is, like, again, whether your loved one that you're caring for is still alive, whether you're going through the grief process, there's going to be big events that come up, and you have to walk through them, and you have to just decide to do what makes you feel okay in that moment, and that could be different. It could be having as many flower girls as you want. It could be all kinds of different things. And I think that's important, because I think too many times we try to follow some sort of protocol, and that protocol kind of gets in the mix, because when you follow that protocol, then the absence is just bigger, and so I do think, I agree with you, Steph. I think that because we made decisions to make your wedding different, what you wanted, that made it feel like less that she wasn't there, because it was less traditional in some ways. And so I think that that's important, and obviously we're talking about a wedding here, but it could be a high school graduation, it could be a birth of a new baby, it could be any life events. Like Cortney said, the problem with caregiving and grieving is that time marches on. Like, you don't get to, at one point in time I thought, oh, if it could just all stop just for a little bit, then I'll be okay. Like, just stop it and let me catch my breath, and then I'll be okay. And that's not what life is. You have to figure out how to walk through it, and figure out how to walk through the grief while still living your life and having these things happening. And I think that, at the end of the day, that's what she would have wanted. Now, the one thing I have to say, though, that we couldn't mess up was steaming the dress.
Yes.
Come on.
And to be honest with you, I think that was the moment during the wedding weekend when I missed her the most. And this is where I think grief is like a funny little thing. Like, she should have been there yelling at us.
She should have. Especially when I spilled the water on it and I was freaking out about it.
Just told you it was fine. I didn't know. Yeah. I didn't know if it was fine. Nan would have actually known.
Nan would have actually known. She would have told me to calm down and that tomorrow it would look fine. And also,
but don't do it again.
Yeah, but if I held the steamer properly, it wouldn't have happened in the first place. Yeah. Although I don't know if she would have allowed me to steam my own dress.
No, I was actually funny when you were looking at pictures that we were looking for the pictures to put out for the memory of her and stuff, I found some pictures of your college graduation. And even then, that was years ago now, but even then she wasn't really good. But she ironed your dress.
She did.
And she has her walker sitting there, and, so that's always, and, one of the things Nana loved to do was to iron, and it didn't matter. And you always ironed your tablecloths and, just everything. And, to be honest with you, give that woman a beer, she could iron for hours and be happy.
And I still remember our little ironing board that we used to have, the play ironing board. I used to sit there and iron next to her because I remember much of my childhood she was ironing.
It's a lot to iron. Let's talk about, she loved to iron, and you're like, oh, dress shirts for her husband. No, everything. Handkerchiefs, her sheets.
Her sheets, oh my goodness, always ironed.
Always.
But yeah, Pap's handkerchiefs, I think I would get them, and then she would go and iron them again, because I did just have the play iron. But there's a lot of time that she was just ironing.
Well, let's remember that her son still irons his blue jeans.
Yes.
That's true.
But that's why, just so all of our listeners know, that's why, the steaming of the dress was, such a big deal, because she would have been front and center at it, and telling you if you didn't do it right, knowing exactly how to do it, and not stopping until it was absolutely perfect.
And I think that's why, it was, for most of it was you, me, and Lex, so her 3 granddaughters that were there steaming it. And I think all 3 of us felt that pressure that if this doesn't look nice, Nan will haunt us. And so we had to make sure that it looked nice. And I was going to, because I had already steamed a dress for my best friend's wedding, and so I was going to let you guys do it, but I kept hearing Nan in the back of my head, I needed to make sure that this looked nice.
They're not doing it right.
Yes. But no, she would have either been steaming it for us, or definitely they're yelling at us that we were not doing it.
I think, too, the other thing she would have really liked was, we have to talk about the flowers at your wedding.
Oh, we do have to talk about flowers, because she would have loved the flowers.
So Belinda, who did the quilt for the bridal shower, who fixed it, her and her husband Mike did the flowers for the wedding. And they were just, there were so many of them, and they were all so beautiful. But I think Mike was fixing them right up until, we started walking down the aisle.
No, he definitely was. And he was yelling at Uncle Buddy about it, because I made everybody move this stuff the night before because it was going to rain. And he told Uncle Buddy that he put them back wrong, that he had everything perfect, and Uncle Buddy put it back the wrong.
Well, that makes sense. Uncle Buddy did not put them out the way that Mike would have. Yeah. But Nan would have loved the flowers. I think the other thing that, our listeners deserve to know, the other moment when I really felt Nan was, she would have put the photographer in the pond, I think.
I'm pretty sure.
Over the snake.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, Steph decided to get married at a hunting cabin.
Or Central Pennsylvania.
In Central Pennsylvania, which was a lovely venue. So we've grown up going there for weekends. Really nice. Did a whole wedding weekend.
It is a beautiful view with a pond.
Yes.
It's a nice.
Oh, yeah.
It's a nice hunting cabin.
Lovely. And, on-site caretakers that did the catering and everything. It couldn't have been nicer. I would say, only drawback is the presence of snakes.
Yes, there were 3 that weekend.
Actually 4.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Well, you were the bride, so it's good that you didn't know.
We didn't have to tell you everything.
Got it.
But the one big one was probably the one when we were taking pictures with the bride and the bridesmaid, and the photographer almost dropped your dress, your 5-foot train, on a snake.
Yes.
Which would have made the snake underneath the dress with you, which is a real issue.
An issue that the photographer did not seem to grasp and put together, but that Lexi, our cousin, very much articulated. And we had to wait for Uncle Buddy to come kick the snake into the woods. But I have to be honest with you, if Nan had been there, I don't think it would have gotten that far.
I don't think so.
Yeah, she would not have appreciated the fact that the photographer was not up to doing her job.
Yeah, and in all the planning, we didn't assign out a job for a snake wrangler.
I know. We have to add that next time somebody gets married up there.
Definitely needs to be a snake wrangler. Because if that snake had gone up my dress, I think I would have not been okay to walk down the aisle.
Yeah. just so everybody knows, the snakes that we're talking about are garter snakes, so they're not harmful, but they do live amongst rattlesnakes. And so there's always a question. And for me, to be honest with you, it doesn't matter to me if it's a garter or a rattlesnake. A snake's a snake.
On your wedding day, just feels like rain. I feel like we could have handled that. Would have been fine. That's good luck or whatever.
There was
they tell
also
brides.
a bug up my dress at one point. That also is okay with me.
Bugs are fine.
But the snake would not have been.
Yeah. She would have been very upset about the fact that and I think, in the photographer's defense, I think she thought you guys were just yelling to be like funny, but in where the place that you're at, it's clearly a possibility that there's a snake. I mean, I'm sure at other weddings there weren't, but at this one, definitely, we would have liked her to have acted quicker, better.
And not want to still take my picture. Well, there is a snake a couple feet away. I'm not going to smile, so.
Right, because even though it's not poisonous, a snake is a snake.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I don't think these are going to be good pictures, and Nan would want them to be good pictures, so we'll wait.
Yeah.
The videographer, on the other hand, all over it. I'm sure there'll be video evidence of the snake kicking done by Uncle Buddy, and that will make your promo, I'm sure.
Nan would have loved the videographers. Like, they were all over it. They were phenomenal. And they made sure that I was good, too. I mean, there was something that fell out of my hair, and they were on the dance floor, got it for me, put it on. Like, Nan would have thought that was slick.
Yes, she would have.
And I came in with my bouquet at one point, and I was just dancing, and the videographer, got it before I even noticed I still had it again. Nan just would have thought, she would have told us, they were just so good at their job and on top of it.
She would have loved that. And, I think that's the other thing that you miss, that at least I missed with Nan, was, even if she wasn't there, during the planning and stuff, was just kind of being able to talk through it with her.
Yeah.
Because afterwards, she would have talked about this for weeks. I would have went over to her little room, and she would have went on and on about different parts of it. She probably would have written notes down about it.
Yes.
She would have thought through the whole thing, what was good, what was bad, what we should have done differently. And, earlier in my life, that what we would have done differently probably would have upset me. But now, I would love to hear, what was her take on it? What did she really love? And, how did she see it and view it? And so that's just another thing that, it's just not here. And I think for me, during the planning of it, not being able to kind of just say, oh, Mom, this is what we did. Here's where we're at. And I think she would have given just a tidbit of information that would have been helpful. I think her honesty, is something that I miss. Again, I think in caregiving and going through life, that honesty at some point in time, that blunt, forceful honesty, at some points in time would have really irritated me. I remember when I was raising you kids, and I don't know, there was a birthday party or something, and I had just spent all day getting the house clean, and she walks in and she tells me the one thing I didn't get to, and that just really bothered me. But I think one of the things that happens is, as people age and they're succumb to some illness, I think that the things that really irritate you are the things that you really miss, and the things that you would have honored. And I think for me, the one thing you could do is you could trust that she was telling you the truth.
Yeah,
if she said it was good, it was good. She wasn't just saying that. And I think for me, there's things about the wedding that I would have done differently, or we didn't get to. And please know, I know everybody has said what a great day it was. And I know that you, Steph, had a great day, and that's all that really matters. But I think I'm missing her saying it was really good, and I would believe it when she said it,
Right. When I think, for me, one of the things, if I think about what I could have done differently or better, it's the seating chart. So we did the seating chart kind of old school with paper plates and clothespins, and we were moving.
Which is so funny, and just so everybody knows, it's so funny because Court's like the most technologically advanced person, but
I consider myself an early adopter. I try to, but I was like this was like something we had to see, and there was something about physically moving the clothespins and the tables around the dining room.
So I just so everybody knows, if they're wondering what we did with clothespins, put everybody's name on a clothespin, and then we put them on a paper plate, which, by the way, I thought was a great idea. The tables were round, and then as you're trying to figure out who can sit with who likes who doesn't like who do you have to sit across the room from each other, it's really nice because you can just remove the paper, the clothespin, and put it on a different plate. And so from my perspective, it did work out well in the beginning. The ending, I think, was translating that then into getting the stuff printed.
Into the escort cards was really hard. So then, because then you're hand typing the names and you're cross-referencing like the RSVP list to make sure you're typing like the right versions of their names. And so there was a little bit of an issue with the escort cards. So I was typing them all, and there were 200 people. So you're typing all 200 escort cards, and the printer didn't print them right. They didn't like bleed them to the edge, which was really upsetting to me. And I remember, just sitting at Gray's Run going through all of these, and I'm just like crying sitting there because they're wrong. And I knew that was like an important thing to her, that like people were sitting in the right places and there were escort cards. And I remember Dad, like, he didn't know what to do, but he just sat there while I sorted through 200 escort cards. So Arizona, so Steph's best friend Arizona was helping me, and Dad, like, he didn't know what to do, and I was crying, and that was just like throwing the man completely off of his game. Mm-hmm. And so he was just going to sit there until I was done, until I had figured it out. And what happened was we were just down two cards. They were cousins of ours that either A, didn't notice, definitely didn't say anything to me, but somehow I ended up with their girlfriends' cards. And so Nate in Arizona, Steph's best friend and her husband, decided just to back me up that the wind blew them away. Yeah. So like we had a story, we were sticking with our story. So just between like us and whoever's listening to this, the story is that the wind took them away. And but for me, like, that was really hard. It also then, like, standing at the wedding, I wondered about the groups of people that we put together. Like, I knew they were odd on the paper plates. Didn't realize how odd some of them were until we saw them sitting there.
She says odd. So she's in Boston. We're home doing this at the dining room table. We felt like it wasn't odd. We felt like there was reasons for what
I do feel like there was some oddness that got added after I left for Arizona's wedding, because I came back and they looked a little bit different.
That Friday night I spent by myself.
Oh,
I went into the seating chart.
They were
it got odd. Yeah. But like, it's so hard. Like, I miss like being able, like, she would have sat there and drank a beer and talked me through that. Like, why, like, this person can't sit next to this person because this person doesn't like that person, and there's 9 people at this table and 7 people at this table. And for any of you listeners that have planned a wedding, I'm sure you know what we're talking about. The seating chart is the hardest part of it.
Definitely.
And she would have provided such good insight to say, like, there's a hierarchy of tables and who should be, I think the tables might have been okay, but maybe it was like whose table was at what place in relation to the head table. Like, so much of that, like, I just felt like I was kind of flying blind a little bit into that she would have offered so much insight into.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and then remember, we had it outside, and so the dance floor actually couldn't fit in the middle. So then on the fly, some of those tables got moved because the dance floor had to go slightly over to the left, closer to the pond. And so some tables that were supposed to be on the left went to the right, which really jacked things up because now people that were supposed to be around the dance floor were maybe moved out or up or down. But at the end of the day, it was all okay. It was all okay. But I think for those of you who may think, oh, I didn't do a seating chart for my wedding, good for you.
Yeah. Great call.
Good for you. But that was not something we could do because Nan would have really wanted that done, and so we did do it, and we definitely missed her being there, being able to provide the insight into people Maybe some of the older relatives that she would have known some connection that we didn't know, because that's what you're looking for when you're putting people together, some sort of connection or a reason that they can be sitting there together. And the reality of it is there can only be so many at a table. So if you have 10 people and only 8 fit, you got to go someplace else. You got to find a connection. Yeah. So I think that's important.
I think for me, I was so nervous about Nan not being a part of the day and prepping myself the best way that I could. I thought if I prepared myself, if I was ready, if I had people who were important to me. I mean, for example, Aunt Bibi being there was the biggest important part to me when we first started this. I mean, it was the first person we called to make sure that she could get there. And of course, her grandson and his fiance, they're like, yep, of course we're getting her there, it's all good. But there was lots of other things, that we did, that we prepared. We made sure that it would be okay. But even leading up to the day, I still felt like I knew there would be so much going on, there would be so much to do, that I would forget about Nan. And I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want to, I did want to be wrapped up in my joy. I wanted to be happy, but it was important to me to sit back and have a moment to remember. Because if there would have been one point from that day that I would have regretted, it would have been not honoring her. And I know Mom and Court were surprised by one thing at this wedding.
Yeah.
Which it was hard to surprise you guys, because I needed you guys for so much of the wedding planning. I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? Because you guys were just wrapped up in everything. I mean, I enlisted the bridesmaids, the groomsmen. I was like, please do not let them see the flowers. But that was...
I almost picked up the flowers. I don't know if you know this, but I called Steph and was like, DJ doesn't have to pick up the flowers. So our brother DJ, I was like, I'm already in town. I'll just get the flowers. Yeah. And you were like, I think I need you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, DJ can go get them.
I was like, I feel like you should come back up and you should go get the flowers. But I needed to do that because I knew that it would give me my moment to sit down and remember Nana. And it would also give me my moment to honor the both of you. And so that's why I planned it. I planned it kind of, my speech, but not totally. I made Mom walk out of the room when we were with the florist. I felt so bad for Mom.
Kicked me out.
I was like, can I have a moment alone, please?
I felt like Nana was there. It was all right.
But, and a part of me did worry a little bit that the red would not go with our flowers. So I, just for the listeners, during my wedding, before the bouquet toss, I brought Mom and Court, my maid of honor, to the dance floor, and I paid a tribute to both of them for being such important women in my life, and also to my woman, my Nana. And I gave them each one single red rose, because our grandfather, Pappy Armstrong, he used to give Nan roses all the time, and he would give her one single red rose. But that moment, it was to honor the both of you and to Nana. And I think if I hadn't done that, if I hadn't planned that, there would have been too much going on, and I wouldn't have gotten to say thank you to her for everything she did to get me there. Because even though she didn't plan this wedding with us, even though she wasn't there that day, she's what got us there, what got me there to my wedding day, but also got us there to be able to plan an event.
Yeah, and what a great thing for our listeners, to purposefully plan a moment. Because you're right, Steph, everything goes by so fast on your wedding day that if you hadn't planned that moment, we thought the moment was about us.
It mostly was.
But we're okay. We'll share it with Nan.
Yeah.
But if you've lost somebody, it's getting the pictures or just having a seat left seems like not enough, and so really having that planned moment.
But I think that's my bigger point too, is that so yes, I wanted to honor Nan. And I did that, and I made her a part of my day, and I didn't get caught up. I planned it. But I think everybody on here should also know that I did that to, and people say you should give the people their flowers while they're still living. So I did that to honor the both of you while you're still here with me and while I still can, because I couldn't with Nana. And I realized that. I realized I was no longer able to honor her. And so for people who are still caregiving, still have their loved one with them, honor them now. Honor them before they get sick.
Yeah.
Honor them, I mean, every day. Not every day. But just, I think that is important. It's not just about those that have gone. It's also about those who are important in our life. And I think we did that a lot with Nana. We always made sure that she was appreciated. And it allows us to not have regrets. So that's what I would say. Honor those while you still have them.
I love it.
Me too. Well, thanks, Steph, for hopping on with us and talking about your day.
Making us cry.
Making us cry. No longer a bride, just a wife. And off to plan your honeymoon.
Yes.
And then start law school, which Nan would be so excited to watch you go to law school. And I think, we just want to leave the listeners with Nan even, I think, helped you pick out your house.
A little bit.
In Connecticut. So for the listeners, Steph bought a house and there is a tree right in the middle of her driveway. And growing up, there was a tree right in the middle of Nan's driveway as well. I think, I had a love-hate relationship with that tree. Raking up after it every year when the chestnuts fell was not always my favorite. But I did love that tree. And so we'll continue to honor Nan in any way that we can. And for the listeners, I just, really want them to know that they're not alone and that you can feel a multitude of emotions at any given time. And through all of the joy and the happiness and the excitement of your wedding, it was also sad. And sometimes it was all of those things kind of at the same time. And that's really okay. And you have to find what works for you, but don't allow the sadness to eclipse the fact that there is joy, even if you're sad and happy at the same time. So we ask our listeners to follow along, rate us 5 stars if you would, and follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. And if you're interested in learning more about us or different things like that, to visit the planningandprotecting.com site.